board on Cleveland City Council. I've been on Cleveland City Council for the past 7 years now. This year will be our 8th year. Prior to coming to Cleveland City Council, I had an opportunity to serve on Highland County Council for about 4 years there. During my time here on City Council, we really worked hard to connect seniors with services. You know, remove some of the barriers, provide programming and creating spaces for our youth. We really try to work hard to bring new stable housing to our community. The community has seen no new housing in decades, right, before I came to the City Council. And so I ask you for your support as we continue our work. Thank you.
Okay, hello there.
How are you?
Pearson.
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
What criteria are used to assign council members to the specific committees? How do those assignments reflect the needs and demographics of Cleveland Ward? Please explain how that works.
Thank you for the question. So the committee assignments are handed out by the council president, which is Council President Bwpac. The council president, I believe, looks at the engagement by members in their experience with the city council. I believe we look at some of their personal experience, some of their life experience, and some of the work that they've been doing, whether prior to coming to council, even during their time on city council. I believe the president also looks at where a person is passionate about as well in some of their work as members of the Cleveland City Council.
Okay.
In addition to other variations that the president probably makes on his own.
Okay. Which committees you serve on?
I serve as chair of Development Planning and Sustainability for Cleveland City Council. I've been serving that role since I came to City Council. Since after the previous chair, Lisa Recatelli, resigned, I took over as chair. I serve on municipal services and properties. I serve on the finance committee, DPS, as I just stated, and I also serve on the mayor's appointment committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Why are you the best person to represent the council seat you are seeking?
For the last 7 years, as I stated, you know, we have really worked hard to try to change conditions that have been left unchanged for quite some time. It is not a job for me. I look at this as something personal for me. Born and raised in this neighborhood, raising my 2 young kids with my wife in our neighborhood. And so for me, again, it's not about a paycheck. It's about how do we make this community better for the 2 young boys that I'm raising, 2 young black boys that I'm raising in this community, and a place where I'm spending that time with my wife as well. You know, I view the issues differently in our neighborhood. It's easy for a person to point fingers or say it's not their fault, right? Or whose responsibility these issues should be about. But I've really taken pride in trying to develop solutions to many of the issues that we have in our neighborhood, right? Because we do have a system in Cleveland that oftentimes take a while for it to address issues or conditions within the community. But as council members, I think that we have a role in many places that we can do things outside of the normal city process and system, that we can assist residents and help them with the issues that they have. One of the things that we've done is relates to legal dumping. Many of us who live in Cleveland, we know we experience a lot of legal dumping. So one of the things that I have done on city council has we created our own legal dumping crew specifically for Ward 10. They're out this morning actually, right? And we dispatch them every weekend when they're available, which is pretty much every weekend unless it's a holiday. And they're out tackling the problems that we and the residents are facing. Because I face those too because I actually live in the community as well. One of the other things that we create, you know, is a separate grass cutting program or crew to support, you know, remediation of high grass on our vacant lots, or our vacant properties across the ward. Because as you know, the city has a lengthy time cycle when they make it around to the grass. By the time they get around, they do their best. They do hard work. I think they get it every day for their work. But sometimes the grass will get a bit tall, depending on the conditions. So we thought it was important, because of the calls that we get into the office, to establish a grass cutting crew as well to better respond to the residents' issues and concerns that they have in the neighborhood. You know, I'll say my final response, because I got my cue here, is that at the end of the day, whether you've been in office almost 50 years or you've been in office 7 years, it's not going to change the time that the person will take to get your grass cut. It's not going to change the time it's going to have you for a pothole to be filled or somebody to come pick up a dead animal in the street. What I truly believe is that we're at a point in our lives in 2025 where everything that we see from the national level and the state level, that we have to elect leadership who is going to be collaborative, who's going to provide meaningful solutions to the issues that we have in our neighborhood. And no longer point fingers about whose responsibility or what's not our responsibility. I believe that my passion, my enthusiasm are all the things that we need to take our community to the next level in 14.
Thank you. I have 30 seconds. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm inspired now. What inspired you to run for council, and what are some of your accomplishments?
So my political experience began, my elected position experience began before Cleveland City Council. I served on Cuyahoga County Council representing the 10th District, which included parts of my current ward. And prior to that, I served as an award leader for City of Cleveland Ward 10 as well. But I got involved at an early age, at a very young age. I would drop flyers for councilman votes, right? I would go in, I worked with the Raymond Peers for mayor campaigning. My grandfather was a union member, and so those experiences stayed with me.
Thank you.
I'm looking at you.
Thank you.
1 minute to close. Thank you. So again, with a short period here, I know many of you in this room who are sitting here today, and what I can tell you is that I'm a hard worker, someone who really, again, try to find solutions to the issues that we face in our community. Our future is bright, but we need someone here, God willing, who can take us into the next phase of our community. We are at a critical time in the period of Ward 10 where, with the redistricting, we have an opportunity to unite all of our community under one shared purpose. And I truly believe that I am that person who can not only take us to the next 4 years, but really take us into the future, right? With fresh ideas, a different way of thinking, collaboration, partnerships that we have. I am endorsed by our Congressman of the United States, Congresswoman Chantel Brown, former Councilwoman Will Coates, our State Rep Upchurch, County Councilman Hauser, former State Senator Shirley Smith, the building trades, the Teachers Union, Local 38, IDW, and the Plumbers Union. And I ask you to join them in supporting me and going back to Cleveland City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm glad to be here. And I'm in my retirement representing the Water Festival today. I'm Councilman White Clinton, I represent President Ward 8. I'm running new Ward 10. I want to express my sincere appreciation for the support I've received in the past from this group, the organization, and many in this room. I put my record out for everyone to see. I put my legislative record, my voting record, my attendance record against anyone who's ever served in Cleveland City Council. I'm proud of that fact. Ward 8, the present Ward 8 has been one of the most stable wards in the city of Cleveland. I'm very proud of that fact. When we look at the population losses in the city of Cleveland, Ward 8 is one of the least population losses in the city. So I'm very proud of what we've made to do in the community. I look at the projects that I've worked on, reimagining Lakeshore Boulevard, reimagining East 25th Street, East 200th Street, 140th, working on the lakefront plan now with the county to create a 150-acre park along the lakefront. I'm looking forward to reimagining Euclid Avenue and St. Louis.
Good morning, Councilman. Question: what proactive measures are being taken to prevent gun violence in high traffic business entertainment district, and how are businesses being held accountable for safety
Okay.
violations? For safety violations?
I have closed more liquor licenses than anyone in the city council. 104. I either blocked or knocked out. There's no one even remotely close. I take a very proactive approach. I don't put up with any crap. We have what we call right now a Ward 8 misery index. You don't want to respect the community. Your patrons don't want to respect the community. We target those establishments. So I'm proud to say today I have very little problems with business establishments in my community because they know I don't play. I don't play. And my community doesn't play. I have 21 neighborhood groups that we have cultivated. So we are very proactive. but also we collectively, as a community, have to figure out what we're gonna do to deal with this growing gun violence with many of our kids, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids packing guns. We deal with it all the time. So we need more wraparound services, we need more intervention programs. I'm very much concerned with what's happening specifically on the east side of the city, what I see taking place. So my approach has been, I try to reach out, I'm on the board of the academy, helped that kid set up an academy many, many years ago. So we're very proactive, set up a scholarship program there at the school. So we do what we can, but collectively across the city of Cleveland, we need more parents. We need more guardians stepping up to the plate. We need more neighborhood organizations stepping up to the plate. We have to have a holistic approach to this problem. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What are the three most important issues facing your ward?
I would say right now is questions surrounding the Cleveland school system. Will there be more schools closed? We're hearing rumors on the east side of approximately 20 schools closed, with some new schools being proposed to be closed. Great concern to me. I'm going to fight any effort to close additional schools, not only in my community, but on the east side. Look what's happened to our city. Look what's happened to the east side as a result of school closing. Our population has disappeared. Look at what we talk about the redistricting. We're going from 17 wards to 15. We had 33 wards at one time in the city. And unless we come up with a game plan to stabilize the east side, we're going to continue. So it's education, it's housing code enforcement. We need more housing code. These absentee landlords and these out-of-state bloodsuckers that are descending upon our neighborhoods. It's absolutely troubling what I see coming in. Think about this, 1 of 3 homes now are owned by outside investors in our city. And the east side is being targeted. So it's about quality of life. That's been my focus on the council. That's what I'm known for. I'm going to continue that approach in New Ward now.
Good morning.
Yes.
Council members acting, resident service representatives, legislators, and guardians of city spending.
Yes.
Which of these roles matter most to you and why?
Well, all of them. Because, first of all, our main responsibility under the charter is the budget. We have to pass off on the budget. We have to pass legislation. The council does not hire. We do not fire. We do not employ. We do not administer. We're prohibited by law. So, but we have to allocate the dollars. We have to allocate, we act on legislation and laws. But we work closely with the community. I take phone calls. I'm a full-time counselor. I return phone calls. I respond to emails. That's a role that I think very strongly about. I take that very personally. So I take care of my residents. I didn't get elected 12 times overwhelmingly by not taking care of my community concerns. It's a balancing act today. You have to be a legislator, but you also have to listen to the concerns of your residents, and you got to respond to those concerns. That's what I do every day.
Thank you.
So I get to follow up, just closing comment?
Well, I do have another question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so with that said, what do you think is the most important role that city council members play and what makes you right for this position?
Accessibility and listening. I learned to listen. When I came into council years ago, here late on C.C. Marsh, George Ford, endorsed me about the app, and they said I go down the whole list of endorsement ministers, community activists, Carolyn Pete, Angel Washington, but it's listening. And then once you listen, is to take appropriate action. That's what my role is. I listen, and then I try to do what I can to help my citizens.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen that are here, I want to thank you for your past support. My record speaks for itself. What you see with me is what you get. I make no apologies. I'm not diplomatic at times, and I'm not politically correct at times. But I take care of my residents. I take care of my community. Look at Ward 8. Drive Ward 8 and look at it. It's one of the best wards in the city of Cleveland. I'm sure that has something to do with that environment within our community. I'm proactive. I care about residents. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've been elected. I'm overwhelmed by my residents. And I want to thank you again for your past support. And I hope having you. Thank you. God bless you. Come to the Waterloo Festival today. Thank you.
the city of Cleveland Heights during a very interesting time. But I'm going to finish what I started and fulfill the promises that I made. So I'm looking forward to our conversation today. Thank you again for having me.
Okay, thank you. If elected, what steps did you take to put your city on a firmer financial footing?
So Cleveland Heights is an extremely strong financial place. We have over $36 million in savings in terms of our operational motions, in terms of our vision and our strategy for the future. I think it's more about allocating those dollars to make sure that we're impacting the areas of our cities we need to impact. We did an amazing job in terms of allocating our federal ARPA dollars, ensuring that we shored up many of our areas that were overlooked in our city. My goal is now to make sure that that budget speaks and represents for all. Many of you guys know that in Cleveland Heights we have a slogan that says all are welcome. My goal is to make sure that all are represented, all are heard, and all are served. And that means making sure that those dollars impact every area of our city. I'm a lifelong Cleveland Heights resident. I grew up on the north side of town. I raised my family, however, on the south side of town. And you can tell if you walk and drive through Cleveland Heights that our Noble Road area does not look the same as our Coventry, our Fairmount areas. So we need to make sure that we do investment that swings back the other way, so that we're doing a budget that is equitable for all of our residents. And so for us, it's about bringing in more money, but we're in a strong financial footing. It's making sure that the funds that we have are equitable across the entire city.
How do you collaborate with the new mayor when he or she is elected to get things done in Cleveland Heights?
I think that's one of the number one things our residents are looking for. I think it's no surprise that we've been in the news. We have a lot happening in the city of Cleveland Heights. Our residents want answers, they want transparency, and they want a government that works. I'm looking at both of our mayoral candidates. It just so happens they're both on city council with me, so I know them both personally and professionally in terms of what their vision is. And so having those current relationships with them and understanding how they work, I think is going to be critical to what happens in terms of the transition. Now, what's interesting in our city right now is we just had a recall. And so our residents are going to have 3 mayors in the course of about 4 months. And so Mayor Searon steps down, our current council president is stepping in. So I'm going to have to work with him in terms of a transition plan as we stabilize things, not change a ton of things for the residents before the new mayor. And then January 1, when that new mayor is sworn in, they're going to have to step back and take a look at everything from our budget to many of the lawsuits that we're taking a look at, to some of our strategic plans, even around severance. And so my goal is to be a partner, to collaborate, to hear what their vision is for the city, to talk about some of the things that we're currently working on and figure out how we can find some common ground. But I think right now, what our city wants is accountability and sincere collaboration between the two bodies of government. I think this is just a critical election for everybody. So collaborating with our executive branch, I think, is going to be extremely important.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What do you see as the biggest challenge in Cleveland Heights right now?
Oh, so some folks aren't going to like me for this because we like to say it's severance, we like to say it's housing, we like to say it's economic development. But I think we have a hidden issue in Cleveland Heights is that we like to talk a lot about diversity, but we don't look like what we preach. And so we're seeing it even coming out in our current election. I'm one of only 2 African Americans running for city council. We have 1 African American running for mayor. And each and every one of us has already had experiences just based on what's happened this last year that show that what we preach is not what we practice. And so I think that as we're having these conversations across the city, even dealing with the recall and in terms of some transparency issues with leadership, these things are bubbling up. And so I like to tell people you cannot conquer what you don't first confront. And so my goal is to confront some of these issues, bring them to light, and really address the fact that these things have been happening even in Cleveland Heights, even though we like to hug each other and hug our trees. We still have some issues on our streets, and so we don't look like what we preach. And so I think that is one of our largest issues around 50% of the city, but it doesn't look like it in terms of our representation and how we move.
Thank you. Okay, so last question. Based on what you just said, how will you commit to regular town hall or ward-based listening sessions? Are you looking to set those up? And
so if you look back at how we did ARPA, when we rolled out the federal dollars, I actually took the lead on community engagement with that with the administration. And so we took our feedback. A lot of cities They tell folks to come to their community center. I didn't want to do that. We need to go to where people live. And so we took over our schools and our community centers, and we brought our listening sessions and town halls to the neighborhoods. You should be able to walk to us, and we should have to work to get to you. And so I wanted to make sure we were in the neighborhoods where we're having conversations about this impact. I don't want you to have to drive to the community center for the problems around the corner. Let's have that conversation where you live. And I think we need more of that. Again, I just want to thank you so much for having me. This is a critical election this year. I appreciate the past support. People of color right now in Cleveland Heights are really at a crossroads. We're trying to figure out and navigate some things that we want to do in terms of our community, as well as what that does and what it looks like in terms of the broader community. And so I'm hoping that I'm bringing collaboration to the table, transparency to the table, and levels of leadership and experience that can help us continue to move forward. Prior to being on council, I served 6 years on the planning commission. Again, being in East Cleveland, being a passionate activist there, I recognize that there are some of the pitfalls that we could face if we don't make some shifts and changes in our city. And so I want to continue to serve. I just want to continue to finish out the work that I promised that I would do, work with our incoming administration, but also speak truth to power. If you were to listen to folks, they would tell you I'm the Bwpac on the council. I say the things that they don't want to be said, and I'm going to continue to do that so we can shed light on some of the things that are happening. So I just want to thank you for your time and allowing me to come in today. Thank you so much.
My goal is to always serve the people of the city of Cleveland, and I ask for your endorsement today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, quick question here. Do you have a particular approach you will use handling your personal if elected?
Yes, my approach is to come from a place of service. I think service and compassion is key in the courtroom. And if you have service and compassion in your heart, you're going to always do the right thing when it comes to serving our people. Timeliness, efficiency, and accessibility are also so very key in the court system. Making sure that when people come to court, they know that you're accessible. They can ask questions. They will have an understanding when they leave the courtroom. Making sure Zoom options are available. Everyone does not have the luxury to be able to get off of work, come to court, make arrangements for child care and things of that nature. And so if we have that virtual option for people, our court can run efficiently, smoothly, and prevent further delays. But compassion and understanding is so key in our court system.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What made you want to run for Cleveland Municipal Court Judge?
So I've always wanted to be a lawyer and run for judge. I tell this story. One of my favorite movies is A Time to Kill. I don't know if people in here have seen that movie, A Time to Kill. But I watched that movie when I was a little girl, and I learned that the law is not black and white. It's a little gray area in between. And I wanted to make sure I was an advocate and could fight for people who didn't know how to speak up for themselves or didn't have those resources, and be an advocate. I didn't grow up knowing counsel people or lawyers or attorneys. I'm a first generation college student. So I'm the first person in my family to get a 4-year degree to even make it to this point where I have come. I grew up with people who went through the court system, and at a certain point it becomes an obligation sense is so key to me, especially in our court system. Making sure that people that come in front of you are heard and are seen. I'm from Cleveland. I graduated from public schools. I understand the dynamics of our community. So having someone come in front of me, so they know I understand their language, I can speak to them, I hear them, knowing that they have a judge that's going to be fair and not judge them based on other factors outside of what they are there for is important and key, and that's why I'm running for Cleveland Municipal Court Judge.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Socrates said, four qualities belong to a judge. To hear courteously, answer wisely, consider soberly, and to decide impartially. What do you think of his wisdom in this matter?
I think some things don't go away with time. Although we're in the modern era, we need to retain those characteristics that were said at the beginning of time. Because things don't change, just like character. My father always told me what character is. And he said character is doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. Some things are timeless. Some things don't ever change. Morals, ethics, integrity, those are characteristics that we have to continue and hold near and dear and true to us, especially when we have elected officials in office. Our vote is our voice. Our votes matter. We need fair judges with temperament, integrity, and character, and I will be that fair judge. Thank you.
Have a last question? Okay. Most judges who run afoul of disciplinary counsel do so because of inappropriate judicial temperament. Please describe how you will respect the dignity of those who appear before you, including the lawyers, the parties, and the court staff, especially when that person is disrespectful, rude, and difficult before you.
Patience is key. Patience is so important. Like I said, I'm not a career politician. I'm a career public servant. I've worked in public service my entire career. And something that is so important is navigating temperaments, triggers, and traumas. Everybody that comes to us doesn't come to us with the same socioeconomic or cultural background, and we have to understand that. Being a person, again, that's from the city of Cleveland, understanding the dynamics of what goes on and understanding traumas and triggers, it's important to make sure some people may have frustrations and they come to the court with those frustrations, not because they're upset at the judicial process or they're upset with the judge. A lot of times it's situational, and we have to remember that as judges, as public officials, and anyone who sits in a position of authority to take that into consideration and to always remain patient and remember that we have to be humble as well, because the people are who elected us and we serve them. Again, thank you this morning for considering me, for hearing me. I am Khalida Lawson, and I am running for judge for Cleveland Municipal Court. This is in my heart, this is in my spirit. I have a passion to lead and to serve. I have not just started doing this. I've been doing this my entire career. I've been in the rooms, I've been mentoring, I've led organizations to make sure that we are doing the right thing. Impact and community is so important, and making sure that we have judicial candidates on the bench that continue to serve, that have that same face when they're on the bench and when they're off the bench. My heart is for the people of the city of Cleveland, and I do ask for your support, I ask for your endorsement, and I ask to be your next Cleveland Municipal Court Judge. Thank you so much.
Almost said good afternoon, but good morning. I am Councilmember Richard A. Starr, representing Cleveland City Council. I've been having the opportunity to serve on council for the last 3.5 years. Born and raised in the Central neighborhood, graduated of East Technical High School, graduated of Bonawala University, and also have the opportunity to serve in the capacity of working with youth for about 16 years. So I am proud and thankful to be able to be here participate and understand the importance of this election for Ward 5 of the City Council.
Good morning, Councilman. Okay, so my question to you is, how do you plan to involve residents in decision-making process in your ward?
That is a great question because oftentimes you hear residents say they don't know what politicians do. They don't understand what's going on in City Hall. They don't understand what's going on with any government. So one of the things I've done the last 3.5 years is not just host a monthly meeting, but also host neighborhood meetings. Also been able to go into community rooms. Also going into senior buildings and talking to individuals and the residents about their issues and concerns, but also making sure I deliver an answer and a response, but making sure they are involved. One of the things we've started with this council is we've been doing a budgeting retreat, where we go into communities and host our budget hearings to be able to inform residents how the budget actually works, so they can understand what the city is doing, what the legislative branch is doing, but making sure we are all transparent. There's no such thing as just a meeting. We also have email blasts. We also have weekly updates from our office, and also and we include social media because we got some social media residents that love to get everything from the social as well.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Who's your greatest strength in city council?
That's a great question. My greatest strength is having the heart to stand up for what I believe. Oftentimes, folks figure you got to be a part of the team or be part of the group to always get things done. If I feel that something is not right, I don't have the problem with standing up, fighting for what I believe, and also understanding that sometimes you may stand alone, but also understand the residents actually do a job. And if enough of them are mentioning to you, then it must be something that needs to be dealt with.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What inspired you to run for city council?
They told me I couldn't do it. So what
What
is
are some of your accomplishments?
So I first decided to run for Cleveland City Council. Before I decided to make the decision, from 2008, when I was about 19 years old, I started working at the Boys and Girls Club. Started building relationships with youth from age 6 to 18. Then you look up, now those kids that was once 7 or 8 years old, they're now 21, or they're now 17, and they're coming back to the Boys and Girls Club asking you for help. And then I built a relationship with the local PAC committees of CMHA and working with Ms. Carol Hampton. And in 2017, she threw it in my ear, you should run. Then other leaders like Bwpac mentioned I should run. So I ended up running for office because I was trying to figure out another way to be able to help the residents because I feel like we should pass on with the work I was doing with the Boys and Girls Club for around those 14 years. I decided to run, was able to not get elected in 2017, I got spanked. I went back to the drawing boards to come up with a strategic plan to be able to actually run a campaign. 2021, the residents of Ward 5 elected me to serve in a position, and some of the things I've been able to champion, one, declaring gun violence as a public health crisis, which was recently, which is something more than just a ordinance. It's also a way for us to be able to create an opportunity for us to figure out what is actually happening. How can we go after dollars to be able to solve the lack of resources in our neighborhood? Also, I'm just championing starting the Black Male, African American Male Commission, which is going to be kicked off to be able to say, let's figure out how do we fix that male in that household that we oftentimes say is missing. You know, women have for a long time have been doing the work. And what I mean by that is, no matter what women have been doing, especially African American mothers, because my mom raised 6 bad kids by herself, including me, the second oldest. At the time when my father was going in and out of prison, my younger brother ended up going in and out of prison, my cousin was going in and out of prison, my mom was still getting it done, my aunt was still getting it done, my grandma was still getting it done. But imagine, why is still going after a guy who got a 7th grade education? Why haven't been able to find something that can really help them? So let's help these young brothers, let's help these men get on the right track so we can repair and restore our household. I was proud to introduce that ordinance and that committee that's going to get started. We're going through some applications now. We're going to be having a robust press conference coming up on how people can apply so we can figure out how to research and study to help the brother.
Okay, so the 30 seconds, my quick question is what are the 3 most important issues facing your ward that you represent?
So I have one of the most diverse neighborhoods, representing areas of Midtown, Central, Kingston, downtown and North Broadway. So it's different issues in different areas. So what I would say is I would pinpoint in the central area, coming up with plans to deliver a grocery store, not just on 40th, or not just on one part of the neighborhood, but throughout the side of the ward. Also, on top of that opportunity, we're going to be able to deal with addressing housing issues inside of these public housing and dealing with other issue housing.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to say thank you all for having this opportunity to come up before you and ask you for your support. It's important to know that this race at Ward 5 City Council is one of the most close-watch races because of the dynamics and how the lines have been drawn and the impact that's going to be happening on residents in Ward 5 will vote November 4th. I am someone that will stand up for the things that are right. I do champion people's first, residents first, and I always want to make sure I support those who look like all of us, as well as creating a community that can serve people, making sure you bring the issues from the city to City Hall, and not the City Hall politics to the neighborhood, which is very important while we're dealing with city council races. I am Councilmember Richard A. Starr, running for re-election, and looking to serve the residents of Ward 5 once again, and I'm here asking for your support. Thank you.
Next, we'll have candidate Paul Downs for council at large for Bwpac.
Good morning, everyone. Ready to start? So, good morning, my name is Paul Bounds. I'm councilman at large in City position. I've been on city council since January 1st of 2024. When I built I started term until students was the mayor. I lived in Bwpac for 30 plus years. My wife are really good schools, regular honors, by the way, regular schools. I've also looked at serving individuals and being a part of the community as a part of my community. I, along with two siblings, were raised by a single black mother. So these sports at early age, we want to serve her best to do the right to become a chief of police, for black women, but I learned from her that public service is something that's part of my life. And I learned from her that giving back to the community is an extremely important piece of me. So as a council person, I've taken that charge every day to go out and make sure I do what's right for my community, do what's right for my community, and do what's right for the residents, and do what's right for everyone in the city of Bwpac.
Okay, thank you for being here. What inspired you to run for city council, and what are some of your accomplishments?
So I was inspired mainly because of the earlier my mother. She was just for me. Why you watching for every day out, taking care of the needs of the people in the city of Cleveland. I put myself in a position over a number of years to work in areas where it's in public service or nonprofit management to help deliver services for individuals to help change people's lives. So I've taken that kind of approach to city council. So like I said, I was appointed on January 1st, 2024, and at the time I created a couple of new great things I'm extremely proud of. One was the development of a professional proposal process to bring on board a grant writing agency for the city of Bedford Heights. One thing I noticed as I joined city council is that we couldn't hire directors or city or people who are experienced in particular areas, but they're not necessarily experienced in trying to find single dollars people's things. So bringing in a grant company, we were able to identify over $150,000 potential grant opportunities coming to the city, help revitalize the city, help support the initiatives that each department directly sees to initiate. So that's something I brought to the table. I like the process, help the selection process, and identify the grant writing agency. So we're very extremely proud of that. The other thing which I will probably state is something I really shouldn't be proud of is as the chair of the community life committee. When I came on board to council, we did not have a director at the time. Our community life department is like part of our Bedford Heights city. We have a large, beautiful community life department. All the initiation that we do in terms of reading opportunities for our residents comes from that community life department. When I came on board, I created a long-term strategic plan over 2 years to introduce a new director, process how we could change the address ordinances to hire staff, address and change ordinances to increase staffing wages, and also address ordinances to increase wage bringing hours. So for that point, moving forward, we're able to revitalize the program, hire more staff, revitalize the program, bringing dollars to renting fields and areas which we provide us a program of giving another option for residents.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How do you plan to involve residents in your decision-making process?
That's a great question, thank you. So, as I said, I was elected appointed in January 1st, 2024, and since that day, I've walked the streets of Beverly Heights, really knocking on people's doors. So whether it was someone living in the rural roads, favorite parks, someone in the metro state process, or someone living on the bridge, knocking on the door consistently, getting people's feedback. Good example, this week I spoke to a woman who lived in Beverly Heights for 45 years. I was extremely unhappy with the service she received at City Hall today. And I just sat at her table and listened to her talk. And these are the opportunities I find time and time again when knocking on the door of residents that we hear and I hear consistently what they love, what they don't like, and what they'd like to see change in Beverly Heights. And I've taken their voice and I brought it to City Council, introduced it, and I've made numerous changes and adjustments based on feedback we got from various residents. So in addition to going through the doors and talking to them, I'm very active on social media. We also have community forums that we invite residents to get the opportunity to speak their voice.
What are the three most important issues facing the area that you raise?
Yeah, Beverly Heights, for me, you do not know, it's southeast Cuyahoga County, outside of Solon, category between Randall, North Randall, and Bedford. Infrastructure. We are a veteran community where the majority of our tax base is built in a small industrial area. That's located 2 miles on the road. For years, industry was based on manufacturing, and we've seen that there's been a change in this kind of manufacturing. That's something that's growing. It is declining. So, creating strategic opportunity to look at how do we modify, how do we look at sector approaches to bringing businesses, coordinating with jobs so high, coordinating with the local economic development program with Cuyahoga County to identify opportunity to bring in new business growth. And one of the areas is incubators. Right? So, Midtown Ohio, I'm a previous council person, works with Midtown in this area. Midtown is the only incubator on the east side of Cuyahoga County. It's in the city of Cleveland. We have a wonderful expansive space in Bedford Heights where we bring in opportunities for development and growth for technology as well as innovative approaches. That's one. The other is just the age of the community. We've seen in numerous areas where there's been Shaker Heights, Cleveland, Euclid, where the residents go older, they move out, and their homes are rented out. So establishing an approach to bringing in new residents, revitalize the community by talking to residents, talking to opportunities for young people to move into the community with informational packets and motivational packets, and some type of packet to incentivize them to move into the city.
Thank you.
Okay, 30 seconds. Provide an example of a time when you had to make a difficult decision as a council.
Well, great opportunities. I got some of them in a year and a half I've been on council, so we'll try to find one for you guys. The most difficult one, actually, a piece of legislation is coming up right now regarding traffic light cameras. So many of you guys are in different neighborhoods, there's cameras out there, and we think it solves the problem, but it doesn't always solve the problem. So I'm right now, and one of the members has not made a determination whether I would vote yes or no on traffic light cameras. I'm asking for more research and more investment into it, because the primary problem I see as a resident, these things are ugly, and they also lead to a process where it leads to increased costs, whether it's when they have to use the water. So my wrap up. All right, so hopefully I've given you express you guys my desire and my passion to do this job. I don't see every job as a passion. I see it as a call. It's something that's in my DNA. Whether it's my time managing nonprofit agencies and my time in public service at the state of Cuyahoga County, I've always put myself in a position that residents matter, and I want to be the person who makes a difference to those individuals' lives. I pull that experience and pull that passion and use that in the city of Bedford Heights time as a city council person. And I like to move forward and continue to express my opportunity to help the show up. And for your endorsement, I hope I can keep that process in my next term. Thank you very much.
Our next candidate is Clifford Kelly Jr. for Garfield Heights City Council, Ward 6.
Good morning, good afternoon. I want to thank you for this opportunity and time to speak with you. I am Mr. Kelly Jr., live in Garfield Heights. Presently the councilman for Ward 6 in Cleveland Heights. This will be my third term running. We first ran in 2021, and we've been involved with the community even before we
Okay, question. What do you think is the most important role that city council members play, and what makes you right for that position?
Thank you. When I think about the embodiment of that question, I was a Boy Scout when I was young, and my son was also a Boy Scout. And so there's a model that we use in Scouts that the Cub Scouts help the pack grow, the pack helps the Cub Scouts grow, and the Cub Scouts give goodwill. So one of the things that when I thought about that and as we were developing, city council helps the wards go. And the wards help the city grow, and the city gives goodwill to its people. And that's incumbent upon the fact that those who sit in those seats, that they have the vision and the pulse of the city, and not necessarily their own ideas, their own agendas of what it is that they want to see happen and see accomplished.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Why are you the best person to represent the council seat in your city?
I feel like that I'm the best person for the seat which I'm sitting in right now, because number one, I try to always practice what you preach. All right. I've heard in our little city, council is so corrupt this, corrupt that, corrupt the other. Everybody is saying corruption, and they're on social media just texting and saying whatever. But a lot of people don't take time to come to the council meetings. They don't take time to come to community meetings. They haven't taken time to get to know their council person individually. I've taken time to actually go to homes, answer the phones, even before I had even won the seat. In the beginning, I was already in the streets, walking up and down the streets, talking to neighbors, and making sure they understood that that I was serious about the background in which I came from. And I would tell people all the time, hey, do your research, check my background, find out who I am, find out, what it is that I want to do, and what it is that I'm saying that I'm doing. And am I actually doing the things that I said? And so a person who will not take the time to actually practice what they preach, then you're not worth your salt. And so I just try to keep my name and reputation above board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Provide a time as a council person where you had to make a critical and difficult decision. What did you do?
There was a time since I've been on council where I felt like the nature or the voice of what we were doing on council was being influenced by other people. And I'm not saying like residents, but like people who would rather be the power brokers of the city. And so as much as it was hurting, we actually had to call people out, and but actually putting that voice and putting it out there forced a conversation behind that that wouldn't have genuinely happened if you didn't have to just make sure to say, listen, we are the ones who sit here, and we are the ones that the residents are placing their confidence behind and running the city the smart way. And I know we're running out of time, but I quickly want to say, this city, and if you know the news, the city was in default years ago. And so we had to work very hard to try and make sure we made smart choices, smart legislation to make sure that when we came out, we wouldn't be here again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So first of all, I want to thank you again for your time. And again, as I'm running for, this will be my third term as I'm running, and I will repeat what I just heard because it's what I believe in the first place. Everybody is not suited to sit in the seat and run for politics. I am not one. I don't try. I know how to use a tape measure, but I'm not out trying to build a building or build a bridge, because that's not my call. Here in City Council, I believe this is where I fit. I love the residents. The residents have gotten to know me, and they know what they're going to get when I serve them. And so with that, I want to thank you again for your time. I hope I said enough to earn your endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you to the outcomes, and we are ready to welcome the next person. Welcome back again. We are moving on. Welcome to our online audience as well as our audience that is here, and to our new set of candidates. My name is Ebony Garfield. I'm Vice President of Practice, and our first candidate up is Alice Hartford, Richmond Heights, Howard, and Bars.
Everyone, if you could take a moment, if you're just walking into the room, to take a look at your phone, and please go ahead and silence them, as it does become a distraction, as our candidates are speaking. To our candidates, you will introduce yourself, you will then have 5 minutes of questioning, and then with that, an additional 1 minute to go. You will also be given 30 seconds and a 1 minute warning.
Good afternoon, everyone. Afternoon. I would like to first thank you guys for having me and taking the time out to hear what I have to say. See my platforms and what you watch. My name is Alex Harper. I'm out here today as a candidate for Richmond Heights at North. I come here as someone who wants to serve. Someone who
kind of realize what's going on in the community. And then also I take care of, at the time I was a primary caregiver for my mother who has Alzheimer's and dementia. So I wanted to make sure that the community that I grew up in and was raised in continued to stay safe for her, and also provided the amenities and resources that she would need as she moved further on into life and into aging in place. From there, as a father of four, I also started to identify that there aren't many youth programs in Richmond Heights, especially in the summer times. The kids are out of school, there's not really much to do, and as a city, we should have some level of city-sponsored programs to have them, at least give them an option, right? Give them opportunity to do something productive in the summertime versus just making them think for themselves. And then some of the accomplishments, I currently sit on the executive board of the NAACP. I was a state and national voting delegate this year at all of the conventions. I'm also an adjunct professor at Tri-C. I wrote the apprenticeship program that was accredited by the state of Ohio that I now actually offer and teach personally as a certification program at the halfway houses. I'm extremely proud of that because I feel as though I'm able to give individuals that are coming out of the prison a leg up. It gives them the ability to feel more confident as they're going into job interviews, as they enter the workforce. And it also has the ability to help economic development in the community as a whole, because these individuals aren't coming out and just sitting around with no job and no work experience. It actually gets them into the workforce and increases the taxes.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How do you plan to involve residents in your decision-making process?
So I've already started the process of, as I'm going around speaking to residents now, I'm providing them my direct contact information. What I also started to do is also provide them information for the council meetings. I've also started providing residents with ways that they can be involved, not necessarily having to go through their board council person, but also getting on committees, doing these different things, identifying ways. A lot of residents aren't really sure where they need to start. So starting there with just education on where they need to start at, and then from there identifying the interest of the actual residents and trying to bring out the best value in what they have to offer to the city.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Why are you the best person to represent the council seat in the city?
I feel like I'm the best person to represent the council seat because I bring a diverse perspective to the city. I've also been involved in city politics, or city government, not city politics, but city government for the last 4 years. I was also appointed to chair, actually, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Council, to where I was intimate with the information that was going on in the data that we were receiving from our residents, and also different surveys that we put out. I feel like I had a cultural pulse of the community. My age, I know age is always a big kind of a different issue, but I feel like my age actually helps me. It puts me right in the middle of the generations. I have the ability to take the older wisdom from the older generation and also take refresh new ideas that the younger generation has, especially also bring to new methods to implement those ideas. So that's what I feel is the best thing to do.
Thank you.
One last question. What are the three most important issues facing your area that you represent?
So I'm glad you asked. Actually, as I was going around speaking to residents and just knocking doors and getting signatures, that was one of my biggest questions as well. What are some of the things that are some of the underlying issues? One of the biggest ones was property tax. So property tax has been going up in Richmond Heights. It's going up again since Callaway County property tax is going up. So that's one of the biggest things. I identified that, well, not identified, but I had actual practical experience that older generations are living on a fixed income. So as taxes continue to go up, that feels we live in a world of uncertainty right now. Economic stability is at an all-time, or economic instability is at an all-time high. So we want to make sure that property taxes are as best as possible stay low. And then also the second point is that a lot of the parents in Richmond Heights, because Richmond Heights has a lot of young families, are saying that there aren't any youth programs. There's nothing for the kids to do in the summertime when they go to school, when they go to work and the kids don't have school. And especially at the age range of 10 to 17, that we know that it's impressionable, we can get into trouble, and we want to make sure we stay like that.
Thank you.
So, go to thank you. So in conclusion, I am here seeking your endorsement, I am here seeking your support, but
overall, mainly, I want the Black Women's Affirmative Action Committee to continue to push the forefront, continue to push the issues for Black women to the forefront, to make sure that we don't run into a situation where our issues and things that we need as Black women or as Black people are thrown to the wayside as everything else is going on. It's clear that, and I'm going to say this with as much chest as I can, Black women are the backbone of society, Black women are the backbone of the community, and making sure that we protect them at all costs and keep their issues at the forefront as well to make sure that we have a strong community moving forward. Thank you.
Where's my list? The next up is Rebecca Maurer. She's not here. Okay, very good. Lynn Westbrooks, running for East Cleveland Council at welcome.
Let's go.
Good morning, Corey. Good morning, right? Yes, exactly. Wow. My name is Steve Westbrook. And first I want to thank the PAC for inviting me here, giving me the opportunity to speak with all of you. I truly appreciate this invitation. And I hope that I can earn your support and the PAC's endorsement. I have spent my entire career in some form of criminal justice. I was always working to protect my community and but again, I thank you. Welcome. So, if elected, what 3 steps would you take to put your city on a firm financial footing? Financial? Yes. If you're talking about tax abatement in East Cleveland, which is the 2-sided sword, but that can help us with our taxes, and we're trying to do this without overburdening the poor households or the seniors. We don't want to tax them out of their homes. Also, it is so important that we clean up our city. That alone will attract investors and homeowners. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What are the top 3 priorities for you for city council in East Cleveland?
Most importantly, our city council members have to get along in order to take care of the business that we have in East Cleveland. Unfortunately, sometimes going to those council meetings, you'd rather have COVID than go. And I want to stop that. I want to be that common force in council, which will allow us to get some legislation passed and continue the business of East Cleveland.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Will you commit to regular town halls for work-based listening sessions?
I absolutely would. It is important that our citizens know that their voices matter. Their concerns are at the forefront of the business the council members are taking care of. And having monthly communications, meetings, would allow them to ask their council people various questions and to know that they're accountable for what they say to us or promise us, or we promise them. So yes, to answer your question.
Thank you.
Okay, so the last question here. As you know, that gun violence is the top in everybody's community at this point. How would you propose to improve public and help to enforce that in your city?
First of all, we have to improve our safety forces. And because the city is in such financial straits, it appears that we are hiring police officers are inexperienced police officers. And they're paid a very small fee, which does not encourage officers with expertise to come to East Cleveland. And so, and our kids need somewhere to go. They need some activities. Even though we have recently, last year, we opened up the Martin Luther King Center. But they need to be encouraged and have someplace to go, and have some positive things to do. Right now, they don't have a lot. And they need the adults there in East Cleveland to take them under their wings and try to guide them. And bringing the city and the school together with community activities is all about preventing gun violence.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple of concerns about this school. Euclid Avenue is considered the living room.
It's considered like,
The living room of the city.
yes.
And I was wondering, what plans do you have to improve the living room, so to speak, on Euclid Avenue, the businesses, to bring more businesses into East Cleveland and to revitalize that area? And also the housing stock. I know that there has been a lot of dilapidated housing in East Cleveland, absentee landlords. What is your plan for that?
You're calling Euclid Avenue the living room, and we're calling it our downtown.
Okay.
And so, yes, there needs to be a lot of work done, but this is, we will soon prayerfully have a new mayor. And with that mayor, getting our downtown looking better is on the top of her priority list. Okay. I got too nervous up here and did not continue my opening, but I spent my entire career in criminal justice. When I retired, I could have just stayed home and just enjoyed my retirement, but instead, I ran for East Cleveland School Board, and I won that bid, and I served 12 consecutive years on the school board. Running for East Cleveland Council now, to me, is a natural progression of my commitment to serve. And I hope that I can get your endorsement. That would be very important to me, but I thank all of you for being out here to listen to me out. I thank you for being here.
Our next candidate is Austin Davis, Kansas City Council, Ward 7.
Good morning, everyone. Still morning. Woman and over. Thank you all for having me here today. My name is Austin Davis. I'm running for Kansas City Council in the new Ward 7, which is for folks' recollection. It's the near west side of Ohio City, Fremont, Fort Shoreway, Flats. I'm here to really emphasize two messages for the 67. One is family, and two is experience. I'm raising my own family on the near west side. I have a 3-month-old daughter at home. The city, it raised me, and I owe so much to the city, but it has to work for my daughter. That's how I think of things. And I'll tell you, the only way it works for her is it works for every single family in my community at the same time. That means all income levels, all backgrounds, all family shapes, sizes, configurations, everybody. It has to work for us all. And two, experience. I spent 3 years at Cleveland City Hall as a lawyer and advisor, incredibly proud of my work under the then new Mayor Mr. Bid, primarily on big legislative projects. But I know where the bathrooms are. I like to say I'm ready to hit the ground running on day one and make the city work for all of us.
Okay, well, Austin, my question to you, how would you describe your leadership style? And how does that reflect the values of the ward that you seek to represent?
Our board is looking for strong leadership. I think I can offer that. My default is always collaborative. I like to know what the answer is before I start talking about what the answer is. You know, and that means asking as many people who have a chunk of that answer as possible before jumping to a conclusion. But I think once that conclusion is made, I like to run heads first towards it. We need action, and that's always my attitude is to get to that action as quickly as possible. We have a lot of stuff to work on. If the board values folks, we're going to do that.
How do you feel you're the best person to run through the
I can only speak for myself. I think I've been some very high quality candidates in this race so far. But for me, it comes down to my neighborhood roots. That while I was born in a part of Cleveland, raised mostly in the suburbs, I've been the co-chair of my farm club in Fremont for a couple of years. I've engaged deeply in community service outreach. I've been part of my Democratic board club to get out there and get the vote up for the past few cycles. I'm raising a family in this community, and that just speaks to the roots. I'm saying it down. Folks know that I'm invested in making this place work. And again, the experience of starting from a place of not from scratch, but from hitting the ground running. I think that can go a long way. I want to be the kind of council member who can start to engage in tough questions, not just give them power back on the day it goes off, but start cracking on why does the power keep going off in the first place the next day. That takes some experience to get there. I think I'm that guy.
Good morning. What are the three most important issues facing the ward here in the office?
Absolutely. It's the most important issues for the residents I speak with, the residents overall, for myself as a member of my community. The most direct one, I think, is traffic safety, street safety of all kinds. But we in Ward 7 like to think of ourselves as the walkable backyard. We're not the living room, but maybe we're the fun party backyard in the city of Cleveland. But that walkability means you need to be safe from traffic. There's 603 crashes against pedestrians and bike users across the city of Cleveland last year, disproportionately in these neighborhoods. We can slow down traffic and make it easier to get around. So everyone 8 months old to 80 years old can cross the street and feel good about it. 2 is housing. It's too expensive to live there. If you drive around my house, you see some of these $750,000 townhouses coming up. Didn't used to be that way. I believe there's room for everybody in my community, but yes, and I believe in all the above solutions, but we have to make sure that there's room for folks who don't have $1 million like myself for that townhouse. And number 3, it's getting the basics right. It's making sure that the cities continue to provide high quality services across the board for everybody. I think that in terms of the kind of stuff that drives a family crazy or makes them convinced to stay in our community. Because it's easy to, you can get better trash pickup, snow plows, and the pools are open more often in Lakewood. You might move there instead, or Cleveland has 2 Broadway lights. I don't want that. I love that Cleveland's growing again, and we have to make sure that we carry on that trajectory by investing in the basics.
Thank you. One question. So, you know, council members wear many hats. As a resident service representative, legislators, and guardians of your ward, and also the city spending. Which of these roles matter to you most, and why?
I think this is a tough question because they're all absolutely essential, and we need to get folks across the city to do all the above, no matter what. The job, as I envision it, is resident services first, is the resident connections first. There's no way around it. You're the front door for for the 25,000 members of your community to Cleveland City Hall, and I'm excited about that. I did that at a much smaller level at my block, and I'm going to expand that horizon. But I think I'm a lawyer and I have legislative experience in Cleveland City Hall, and I'm always going to love engaging on those bigger legislative questions as well. No doubt about it.
Thank you.
I had a schedule. I think there's a plus side. Thank you all again for your consideration. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be considered for this endorsement. It matters a lot. I'm really proud to be the endorsed Democrat in my race. I'm really proud of our strong results we had next week's primary in New Ward 7. But we all know turnouts low, and with the attention that this endorsement can provide, it really does matter. And every vote matters in this community, every dollar matters in this community, but the endorsement for the Black Lives Pact can really supercharge our efforts in our community. You heard me say I have experience, I have roots, I'm excited about the job, I know what it entails, I'm ready to hit the ground running. So thank you for consideration. Take care.
Thank you. Our next candidate is Mohammed Faraj, Bwpac City Council, Ward 7.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Mohammed Faraj. I'm a candidate for Ward 7 City Council. It's an honor to be here before you seeking the endorsement of the Black Women's Political Action Committee. Growing up, I'm a proud immigrant. I'm a proud immigrant from Palestine. Growing up, my parents taught me and my 7 siblings that freedom and liberty aren't just for those that agree with you. I was taught that public service and the management of public programs is a sacred responsibility. After law school, I returned home to Cleveland to pursue a career in anti-money laundering and compliance. I joined key banks to help improve the company's methods to protect consumers, and later went into the volatile cryptocurrency industry to oversee the implementation of anti-money laundering compliance. And so my professional career is all about oversight, accountability, and problem solving. These are skills that I intend to bring to public office. I'm running on 5 priorities: city services, infrastructure, public safety, development, and small business.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So what inspired you to run for council, and what are some of your accomplishments?
That's a great question. There's no one reason that drove me to run. I've been active in my community since I was a young boy. But the sake of the world, I'm Palestinian right now, and the things going on in the Middle East is making me realize it. I want to know how we got here, and how I got here. We need to understand where we came from, and I can't tell you that there is one reason that's driving me forward, but in my mind, I feel like this is the result of poor leadership and decades of indifference to suffering, indifference to racism, and indifference to, I think that we have a crisis of leadership. So I think that I wasn't planning on running probably for 5 or 10 years, but this was necessary for young people to step up and lead in this moment. So I think that in terms of my accomplishments, I've always been active in whether it's student government or community organizing. I'm also professionally, I work in audit. I work in sort of professional in a way that professional skills that would absolutely translate into city governance. I think those are skills that will definitely transfer into local government as well.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just heard you say that you were Palestinian. As an elected official, how do you feel in today's climate that you, being a Palestinian and a representative for the word included, how would you, I know that it's important that you be representative for all of the people. How do you feel that your ethnicity will affect your ability to govern in a negative or a positive way?
I think that's a very important question, and I think that as a Palestinian, my ethnicity is important because we need diverse perspectives in every corner of our government, and I think it's also important to remember that I'm no longer, in my ascension to local government, when I'm successful, you no longer belong to your community. You belong say that I understand fully that this is a sacred responsibility, and understanding that, you know, when I say that I feel like leaders have failed, I think they've failed to represent, you know, a lot of these issues in a way that even just makes sense. You know, I feel that in my bones, because I feel like they have perpetuated this us versus them framing of everything, and I think that that's the wrong way to go, especially if you want to find out how we move forward from this place that we're in. You know, we need to move forward together in solidarity, and not in a place of division and dissension. So.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process within the city?
Yeah, I think, you know, when I decided to run, you know, one of the biggest driving forces for me was feeling ignored, not feeling like my voice mattered. And I think that, you know, understanding the ward where I live is very important, because the concerns of those in Tremont are very different from those in Ohio City. They're very different from those. The concerns of those in Lakeview are very different from those in the Flats. The difference from those in Riverview is very different from those in Detroit Shore. Understanding that is critical for someone who's going to ascend in this role, because there's a lot of block clubs, you know, but a successful person in this role understands that not a lot of people go to block clubs. Not a lot of people. So I intend to designate reliable office hours and consistent and regular town halls that are designed to reach the ward's most disenfranchised, those that don't step up, because at the end of the day, I am also running because what we're doing is not exciting people. We don't need to look any further than our election results. After a lifetime of watching my community and so many other communities be dismissed, ignored, and vilified, I decided it was time to run for office to demonstrate my vision for a stronger community that doesn't define itself by division, by destruction, by profits. And I think that it's important that we are electing leaders who understand what this moment means and how we move forward from this place. I am Ward 7, progress is driven by the residents, and they deserve a counselor that defines his role in being accessible and committed to understanding the problems of the community. And I'm committed to improving the everyday lives of every resident in Ward 7, not just some, every resident. And it's an honor to be here before you all to seek your endorsement. And I thank you so much for your consideration. Thank you.
Next, we will have Craig Hall, running for Cleveland Heights City Council, Ward 1.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce this endorsement, and for all of you for taking time from your busy schedule to attend. I'm a native Clevelander. I spent part of my childhood growing up in this very neighborhood. I went to Grace Mount Elementary School through the 6th grade. I'm running for re-election to Cleveland Heights City Council because I believe in the promise of Cleveland Heights, and to fulfill that promise, we need thoughtful, steady, and diverse leadership. In the history of Cleveland Heights, I am the third African-American male to ever serve on city council, and until I was joined by Anthony Maddox, who was the fourth in 2022. I think that I have an excellent reputation in Cleveland Heights for being the thoughtful, steady, calm presence on city council. I'm the only attorney on the city council, and I will be the longest serving council member if I'm elected. excellent relationship with both of them. I had a reputation for being a very collaborative person, someone that listens first, engages respectfully, and then tries to reach a common sense solution. I don't anticipate having a problem being collaborative with my fellow council members or either of the new, whichever the new candidate becomes the mayor next year. You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
With the current recall, how are you as a city council person maintaining some sort of stability within council with your colleagues?
First, I don't think any of the city council members took a public position on whether there should be a recall or not. I thought that would have been inappropriate for the council members, and particularly given the fact that two are running to be the mayor. I'm going to continue to be the same calming, thoughtful presence that I have been on city council, and believe that that will help us get through the rest of this year, which is going to require some healing. Our community has been divided over this recall. I just plan on being me.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
What do you see as the biggest challenge that Cleveland is facing right now?
In the short term, it is going to be rebuilding our city government, and that will require city council working with the new mayor. We have had a revolving door at City Hall, particularly with our directors and our administrators. One of the roles of city council is to confirm the appointments for some of those positions. We will establish a budget for next year, so that will require some collaboration between the council members and the mayor. And I think that as council members, we need to make sure that we don't do anything to inflame an already divided city. And I believe healing is already done. Well,
Okay, so my last question here is, what is your greatest strength in sitting on the city council?
I think my greatest strength is bringing a level of professionalism, institutional knowledge. As I said, I'm the only attorney on the city council. I feel that I am the council member that not only my fellow council members, but the residents look to for a common sense solution, someone that's going to work through differences and try and reach a consensus, which is necessary to get anything done in the city government.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you again for the opportunity to interview him, for all of you to take time from your busy schedules to come here today. I was fortunate enough to receive this organization's endorsement 4 years ago. I would be privileged and honored to receive it again. I think it is worth noting that I am the only incumbent candidate that has been endorsed by